I checked my Etsy. I saw on my Gmail and my Google email account, I had packages delivered by USPS. I walked outside my door tonight and I surprisingly and unexpectedly saw someone putting notes on doors about new keys to the building. I didn't know who I was looking at first, and then I looked closer, not having glasses on. Unfortunately, with the coronavirus pandemic and masks, I don't have an option without fog. And then all of a sudden, I said, are you Sarah? Yeah. Her face was more slender. She appeared different than the last I saw at my appointment I had with her. I said, I'm just wondering, why my last appointment was forgotten and ignored. And I had left, I said, almost 5 messages altogether. Not at once, manically and delusionally. Over a course of time, and never received a return phone call. I said to her. She stared blankly at me, and I had to say, I'm the only one here, in case her awareness had too much emotion, in case she was confused. She responded, we'll talk tomorrow. In my original confusion increased. My misdirection, my disarray continued after problems with T-Mobile and Amazon deliveries, difficulties with life, normal, though difficult when they all happen at once now. I said, no, that's not okay. She quickly walked away, got in the elevator, and reminded me when I worked at Pema Carpo with Rigzin, Tinke, who was a shaman who was born in Tibet. And there would be customers who we would sell Dharma statues and prayer flags. And occasionally there would be paranoia. A man with a knife a few inches away who was much bigger, looking at one of our items for sale, poking his finger with the tip of the knife, having more awareness, had more awareness. And I was simply volunteering at the shop. And felt a similar kind of explanation tonight. Seeing a counselor I barely recognized, calling the first person I could think of, my mom, to sort out does what's going on now make sense? Having a medical provider who not only disappears and doesn't return phone calls, but then demands the next day when there's a coincidental interaction in a hallway for me to do what they want now. Demanding, requiring in some sense for what Social Security requires for review guidelines to continue having benefits and not having homelessness as my only option and no dollars and no cents from a government who could deny a review for a lack of my attention to what I need to fulfill for them to know I'm not having a party. I'm not belligerently running around naked now. And my mom said, there's more going on than what I see and what I hear. And to relax and let them figure out their business stuff. And I insisted, Mom, are you okay if your doctor, your provider of medical services, doesn't return your phone calls, spontaneously cancels an appointment but doesn't tell you, hypothetically, they need to cancel? And then when they finally interact, they say, we'll talk about that tomorrow. She just got snow, she said, and doesn't have to go to work tomorrow. I hear paranoid sounds like someone's being someone's being investigated. And we talked and I hung up, and I'm as confused now as when I had chordoma in my brain, in my skull. And completely dismayed. Without an explanation why there would be a need for confusion. Indeed, I'm obnoxious, horrible, disgusting, a bitch. A father once said to me with his son next to him and his wife aside him. Now, in the news, they call me a white racist supremacist. And in this building now, I'm a distraction. I'm causing disruption for those drug recovering addicts. And I make no sense, though I'm smart, they say. What's happening now causes not only confusion, but for those who aren't aware, a possible crisis. Not being allowed to speak in a home rented with money provided to a landlord in a lease agreement requirement for apartments for those who receive disability from Social Security now. And instead of figuring out, making progress with school applications, what I'm provided by a mental health service called Community House in Seattle, and those tenants who are bullies, and as confused as I am, though quiet and silent about a problem bigger than stimulation and reward, behavior, mind and self and ego, emotion and mood, and a longer discussion about these cultural diversity requirements in Seattle especially. I say words about hijabs. I don't say the N-word out loud with all of the letters. I have a pride sticker and an Elton John dancing on my door. One of my closest best friends in college was Muslim. I called her Little Mayreen. She told me what to do. I listened. She's a nurse and has a family. My roommate in college was gay. Bisexual mostly, he said. My friend Rio's Japanese. His wife, Simone, is African American. My friend Riggs and Tinke was born in Tibet. I've read the Quran. I've read the Torah, Bible, and didn't finish the Torah. And then eventually I learned about Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. I sat with a homeless, autistic boy in a psychiatric emergency room at Harborview Hospital until 5 o'clock in the morning almost. And then had to sit by while his mom said, "Get the F in the car."